India's cruise industry is sailing into a new phase. From shorter holidays, younger travelers to digital first bookings, cruising is becoming more mainstream. What's driving this shift? Let's understand from Akansha Agarwal and Vinu Vijay, the co-founders of Int2Cruises. Both of you, thank you so much for joining me on WION today. Akansha, let me start with the big picture. Cruising is always, for the longest time, it was seen as something luxury or once in a lifetime vacation. How is that mindset fundamentally changing, and what are the macro indicators that you're tracking to, understand this shift?
So what happened earlier was that yes, it was like treated as one of, once in a lifetime kind of an experience. But now as consumers are, getting more aware about the experiences and they want to have those experiences instead of the sightseeing. So their whole behavior towards tourism is changing. They're traveling for concerts, they're traveling for sports, they want to see those natural phenomena which are occurring, and cruising is part of that. Plus, cruising is very convenient because you just pack once and then you're traveling across the country and you're visiting more than 4 destinations in a 7-nighter. So it comes as a convenient package as well. So that's why when they're traveling with the kids, with the multi-generational families, they find this as a very, unique and very convenient kind of an option. And they want to repeat it again and again. Because if we have to go to Europe, then 2 days we are at Spain, 2 days we are at Italy, and we're just packing, unpacking, logistics. It gets very difficult. Here you're having a trip while you are sailing, plus you're, halting at the destinations, and then you're viewing the destinations as well.
Right. Now, let me come to you. Data does show a massive preference for these short haul destinations closer home, say Singapore, and also high volume bookings closer to the departure date. So how does this consumer behavior pattern change the operational and supply chain dynamics for Asian cruise liners?
So taking India as an example, like India is a market wherein it's a very late market. So people just plan for their cruises or for any holidays like within 90 days or 60 days of time period. So obviously the demand and for that purpose, the supply is always is a concern. But again, like considering the short haul sailing, that is the most easiest destination which they can prefer to reach out. And most of the cruisers, it's like first time cruisers. So for them, it's always preferred to take a short-term cruiser so that they can have that experience and then they can plan for a long-haul sailings. And obviously, the long-haul sailings, obviously, a lot of people do plan well in advance. But yeah, depending upon the other factors and then other stuff, then based on that, they decided.
So if I can add on to that, what we have done as Int2Cruises is that since we know that India is a very late market, and cruising or entire hospitality industry for that matter serves on a dynamic pricing. Now to help our Indian consumers, what we have done proactively is that we work on a lot of pre-purchase inventory. So that we've purchased the inventory in advance and we can control the pricing, and it's static then for the customers to pass on that benefit to the customers. Plus we've also recently started on the price drop mechanism. So what happens is that, if the occupancy rate of a cruise line is not 80%, then the prices drop for those kind of sailings. And we have started that on our site, that we are showing you those pricing which are leaving in next 30 days or 15 days, 45 days. Customers can come on the site, they can set their trackers for whatever sailing they want to, and they will get regular alerts on it. And whenever they feel that now is the right time to book, so on the last minute bookings also, they don't have to pay a lot of pricing on it. They're not charged premium.
Right. And, it's open to both of you. The industry that you operate in, it is impacted by a lot of global factors, geopolitical factors. And I understand that you have partnerships in the West Asian region as well. So with all that has happened over the, first half of this year, how has that impacted your business?
So yes, Europe, if you look at the deployment of Europe, it's very seasonal. It is from April till late September only. After that, it's not the time of Europe. And when someone has to go towards that side, western side, they pick this deployment season. But since there was a lot of restrictions and the external factors were involved, hence our Europe numbers got affected. In the entire destination mix, 75% is what we did Singapore, and 15% only was catering to Europe. So people then chosen on to the short haul destinations for traveling because it was easier. They were not having any, fear in their minds as well. Plus, visas were also very easy to get. And plus, the good part was that Disney launched in March, which was a
Yeah.
new product in Singapore. And people wanted to then try it out, which worked in our favors.
Just wanted to understand, a lot of youngsters are now going on cruises. So if somebody had to book, what is the minimum cost that they have to spend to be able to enjoy a cruise experience?
Cruise in that way is very convenient. I mean,
Okay.
it suits everyone's budget.
Yeah.
Because in a cruise, you've got 4 different kind of categories depending on the budget that you want to shell out. Either you can take an interior, which starts at around about $500 per person for a 3-nighter. And you can, if you want a balcony cabin, you can go for a balcony cabin, which would be $1,200 to $1,500 per person, or a suite, which would be more than $2,500, depending upon the kind of class of suite that you want to. However, whatever your arrangement of stay could be, the entertainment part, the dining part, the activities on the cruise remains the same for everyone. So based on your budget, you can select the cabin category, but have the entire experience which everyone is having.
$500 would be the baseline.
Yes, for a
Okay.
Singapore cruise.
Understood. Vinu, let me ask you, the OTA platform, it's already a very crowded space, right? There are legacy players, established players. What do you think was missing? Why do we have a specialized OTA platform for cruises? What do you think was missing in the general aggregators?
So, like as you mentioned, like already a lot of OTA players are already there, and there are flights, hotels. That's what their expertise is. And what we are doing is we are putting cruise as the main product, and everything else will be in and around cruises will be connected to it. So earlier, cruise was a part which is added to the itinerary for the passengers, but now cruise will be the main itinerary, and based on that, their flights, hotels, and everything is getting tagged. So that was the gap which we wanted to fill in.
Now, Akansha, travel agent monopolies, they are sort of, on the decline, and a lot of programs like, different channels like credit card loyalty program, banking ecosystem, community-led discovery, these are generating huge interest in cruises. So just wanted to understand, how is the distribution landscape changing, and how do digital-first platforms fit into this entire web?
So 60% is still travel agents, 40% comes through the alternate channels such as credit card and the loyalty programs. Now, keeping that in mind, the digital is really changing a lot in this scenario, because when a customer comes, like 80% of them are aware that when they want to travel, where they want to travel. Now, it's just the booking journey that they want to experience, or they want to go and book that particular product. Earlier, they used to ask the agents, where should I go? Which cruise should I take? Which now they don't want. They don't want any advices on. So they've already done their research. And now, after the digitization and the urbanization of the country and internationally as well, the international OTAs have also opened up. So, I mean, there is no border on the digital space, right? So they are very easy to do their research online. And that's when they want to take control of their bookings and reaching out to these, OTA platforms or cruise aggregators, where they can book, where they get the maximum value out of it.
Akansha, as you were saying, the digital space has very little boundaries. So misinformation also spreads equally faster, right? So what is that information that people must steer clear of in order to book authentic stays, authentic cruises? How do they go about it?
The biggest misinformation, or say lack of information, that people have these days is they think that cruising is very expensive when it comes to land versus cruise as an experience. But if you go on any international destination, book a 4-star hotel, you will have to shell out around about 20,000 per person per night types. Plus, you'll have to add on your meals and transfers. But whereas on a cruising, it's $500 per person for 3 nights, where everything is included and bundled in that rate, which is entertainment, activities, and meals. So this is like 50,000 for 3 nights, whereas that's like 75,000 and plus. So that's the biggest misinformation.
Right. And now when you look at the Indian market, what is the biggest bottleneck that you see? What is holding back, the explosion of cruises in India?
Especially in India market, the departures from India, that is something which is not there. So based on that, like for that, Indian government is also doing a lot of infrastructure development under the Bharat Cruise mission. wherein they are developing a lot of ports and then they are developing the visas and other services in and around to it. But like once that is also there in the market, so obviously people will start traveling out from India, wherein like if sailing starting from India goes to an international country, that is more growth perspective, but rather having just the domestic cruises alone. So that is something which is still holding.
Port infrastructure, would you say?
Port infrastructure is a part of it, which is already the government is already working on it, wherein close to around 2 to 10 ports have been already planned to develop, international ports, along with the other services like the easiness for the visa processing, wherein like passengers coming from various countries, they have to go through a lot of immigration process at these ports, which has to be eased so that they have the purpose. Like it's very easy for them to come to India and then explore the country and then go back.
So as of now, there's only one carrier in India, one ship, Cordelia, which is there in the Indian coastlines. But unless the number of ships start increasing in the Indian coastline, the number will not increase exponentially because you have to travel to a nearest destination for that and the expenses increases. Whereas if you get that kind of experience within India, so the experience is there, you only have to pay for that kind of an experience. You don't have to, add on a flight or a visa charge to it. So it becomes more convenient and hassle-free.
Yeah.
And for the international cruise liners to come and ply on the Indian coastlines, you need the kind of infrastructure development which we talked about.
Yeah, yeah. And Akansha, now, as you said, domestic cruises should become more popular and work is already being done for that. But at the same time, global cruise lines, they're also sort of customizing their inventory for Asian taste, right? But at the same time, how are currency fluctuations, geopolitical unpredictability, pricing fluctuations, all of these factors impacting the industry?
So yes, I mean, those are something which are not in our control and we cannot control those kind of factors. But yes, they do have sort of a dent on the demand when it comes to it, especially the external factors and not so much the currency as well, because we know that the disposable income of the, community is increasing, Indians are increasing. Plus, from tier 1, the demand used to be huge. Now, tier 2 is also catching up. So, there is a lot of demand there. Plus, the number of ships that were there earlier, every year you are seeing more than 4 or 5 ships are adding on to the global fleet. So, you have more berths to it. Plus, your air carriers are increasing. So, space is there. However, when it comes to more to say about the political and the geopolitical conditions, they cause major dent and the demand really sort of fluctuates based on that. Plus the visa hassle. So visa needs to be more sort of fine-tuned so that it's more convenient.
Right. And open to both of you. Over the next 3 to 5 years, how do you see a mature Indian market? Where do you see the cruise liner industry heading over the next 3 to 5 years in India? How is that looking?
If you look at the global cruise numbers, so 3.72 crore are the global volume cruise passengers. In that, if you see, then Asia is contributing around about 1.6 crore and India per se, Asia is contributing 30 lakhs and Asia per se is 6 lakhs, India per se is 6 lakhs, which is like 20% of Asia demand. And Asia right now is driving the growth in the cruise industry, where India is contributing 20% of it. So demand is there. Demand is huge. Now it's just about getting the infrastructure in place and getting those ships in India so that we are able to grow our cruise tourism.
Okay, so that's about the industry picture. And what about you, Int2Cruises? By 2030, where do you aim to reach? What is the big business bet that you are making at this point in time?
So 2030, if we have to talk about 2030, what we are more focusing right now is to get more fly cruise packages in place so that it's more convenient for the customers to curate that entire experiential sailings and packages. Along with that, more global partnerships with the cruise lines to bring more choice and more products for the customers. Along with that, we are also working on a tech, which is like AI boom, which is everywhere. We also have AI on our system so that customers do not have to go through the entire filter process and they can just ask the AI for recommendations, whatever they are looking at, and they get those recommendations there on itself.
You were saying something, please.
So I was just adding into it that like as she was mentioning about these fly cruise packages and all. So basically those kind of like add-on like fly cruise packages and these add-ons will make the overall process for the clients to plan their vacations better. So that's where we were planning of multiple other ancillaries as well into it as to make it as a bundle package.
Okay. Thank you so much, Akansha and Vinu, for joining me on WION today. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you.
That was Akansha Agarwal and Vinu Vijay of Int2Cruises on how technology, changing consumer behavior, and new travel trends are shaping India's cruise industry. Thank you for watching Big Business Bet.